Hello, and welcome to episode 26 of Things I've Learned from Barry Harris. Today I thought we would do this exercise that Barry used to have us do in the piano class. He still has us do it, but it's a pretty basic idea. It's just knowing your chords on each degree of the major scale. So in this instance, we'll take the C major scale. So here's the two things that you have to know. You have to know your chords in C major, which is the first one is C major 7, second one is D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G 7, A minor 7, B minor 7 flat 5, back to C major 7. Now, those are the ones you have to know. You also have to know each one of those for the purposes of this exercise from their second inversion or from the fifth. So first inversion would be from the third, second inversion would be from the fifth, and in one case B minor 7 flat 5 is from the flat fifth. But so you'll have to know those also. So for instance, we're going to be starting on E minor 7. You have to know E minor 7 from the fifth. You have to know F major 7 from the fifth. You have to know G 7 from the fifth, A minor 7 from the fifth, B minor 7 flat 5 from the fifth. You have to know C major 7 from the fifth. You have to know D minor 7 from the fifth. You have to know E minor 7 from the fifth. There's all of them. So each chord you have to know from root position and from the fifth, which would be second inversion. And these are all drop 2. Drop 2 basically means for guitar players 4 consecutive strings. So he has us do this exercise. And the first part of the exercise is you play the 3 chord to the 6 chord. But the 3 chord you're going to play from its second inversion, which is from the fifth. And the reason that he has us do this is because if you notice, to play the 3 chord to the 6 chord, normally it would be this, which is pretty. But when you do it this way, you can really see the two outs, the lowest note and the highest note are the two that move, and the 2 middle notes stay the same. And that's the sound that he's looking for. So there's the first one, is 3 to 6. So now we're going to go up the scale like that. So we got 3, 6. The next one is going to be 4 to 7, or F major to B minor 7 flat 5. The next one is going to be G 7 to C major 7. The next one is going to be A minor 7 to D minor 7, or 6 to 2. The next one is going to be B minor 7 flat 5 to E minor 7, or 7 to 3. The next one is going to be C major 7 to F major 7, or 1 to 4. The next one is going to be D minor 7 to G 7, or 2 to 5. And the last one is going to be where we started, E minor 7 to A minor 7. So if we did them backwards, we would say E minor 7, A minor 7, D minor 7 to G 7, C major 7, F major 7, B minor 7 flat 5 to E minor 7, A minor 7 to D minor 7, G 7 to C major 7, F major 7 to B minor 7 flat 5, and back to E minor 7 to A minor 7. Now these are really cool things to practice, and you should forget about just knowing them in C. You should know them in every key. So if we went up the scale, and backwards. Which happens to be really pretty. So one thing that Barry does with it, or a particular thing that he does with it, is on a D minor 7 chord, sorry about that, on a D minor 7 chord, he'll play D minor 7, going to G 7. Sometimes Barry will play D minor 7, going to G7's tritone, which is D flat 7. So what's interesting about that is D minor 7 takes C major scale, we already know that, or G7 scale, and D flat 7 is going to be like taking G flat scale or G flat major scale or D flat 7 scale. So what he does is he does this cool little thing, and this is just one instance of something he does. So when we get to D minor 7, he will play, and then he'll do exactly the same thing in D flat 7, which is really pretty. So if we were playing a ballad, just a little tiny thing like that to give you an example of how Barry will take an exercise and turn it into something beautiful that you can actually use in a song. So that example you can use in any 2/5 in any key, so long as you practice it in that key. Very interesting idea. Also, you can change it, and let's go back to the very beginning where you play 3 to 6. So you might want to say, so what if we then just threw in some thirds? So if we did something like, then we could take that up the scale. So here's what we have. So we'll do the next one. Basically, I'm playing thirds in C. Except I'm putting a half step below each one of the notes. So if I did a half step below, it would be next third is this, next third is this, so it would be this. Next third is. Those are really pretty. So if you combine those with the thing we were just doing, which would be. Last one is, so if we did it backwards, let's see. Next one. And all those are really beautiful. Now the question is, after you practice them and do them as an exercise, how do you put them in a tune? Or where do you put them in a tune? So you could think about anything on a major scale where you could say anything that starts off on the 1 chord. That's pretty to just do. This little thing on the 2/5 also. But see, so it's all sorts of little things to practice. And Barry's emphasis is always, you have to learn how to play these little tiny things on your instrument before you start playing all these bigger chords or these bigger ideas. It's these little things that make a huge difference. It might not sound like much at first, but if you add them to your repertoire of things to practice on chords and on scales, they're really, really special. So this is why I say his method is so beautiful, because just the few things that I did, there's nothing really, earth-shattering, but you might take it and be able to do something really beautiful that I never thought of, that maybe even Barry never thought of. And that's the kind of thing that he does at class. He'll say, okay, here's the idea, and then go home and deal with it and see what you can come up with. I always found that fascinating about his method, is that he could teach 100 different people, and 100 different people might have a slightly different take on it. Okay, so that's what I think. I'll leave it there, and that's what I think is a nice little thing to practice. Just a small thing for for this episode, but it's definitely worth checking out. So I hope you enjoyed that one, and hopefully there'll be an episode pretty soon. Thanks. Enjoy practicing your major scale.